Americans have always drawn strength and inspiration from their land. But today, many of the places we treasure are suffering irreversible damage. This presentation shows how we can help protect our heritage through a national system of scenic roads and parkways.
The Lord gave us a lot to start with, the diverse beauties of this country, from prairies to mountains to the long river valleys and the scenic coast.
People are trying to get back to nature, not in a Thoreau sense, but in finding the roots of their country. Where we started, where we came from, which is lost in urban society.
If we speak of soul in America, we have to begin with the quality of the land there. We come from the land, so the shape of the land gives shape to our ideas, shape to our values. The land is ours to some extent, but without question, we are the land's. We belong to the land, we come from the land. It is what has made us.
For better or for worse, most of us see America from a car. Each year, we log nearly 200 billion road miles. In fact, driving for pleasure is second only to walking as America's favorite pastime. We've constructed a vast system of federal highways, freeways and city streets, state and county roads. But the truth is, we've paid more attention to the concrete than to the view. From coast to coast, America is beginning to look the same. A drive for pleasure feels more like a ride through the yellow pages.
If I can't see the land because the billboard is there, then somebody is stealing something from me. If I can't see the history because it's been torn down and franchise has been put in, something has been taken from me. And whoever took that view from me, whoever took that history from me, had no right to do it, and it should be a crime. It's thieving, it's stealing, it's almost breaking and entering. It's certainly breaking and entering the sanctity of my historic sense.
We didn't start out this way. The roads and trails the settlers carved through the wilderness were all scenic, even though scenery was the last thing they had in mind. In the early 20th century, Americans began their long love affair with the automobile. The open road became a symbol of freedom and mobility. Between 1913 and 1930, 4 parkways were constructed in Westchester County, New York. The Bronx River, the Hutchinson River, the Sawmill River, and the Cross County. They set the standard for a new type of American road, the Scenic Highway. Designed to reveal the character and beauty of the landscape, scenic highways are in fact unique works of art, with their stone walls, handsome bridges, rustic fences, and historic settings. Since the 1930s, the federal government has identified, designated, and protected some of the most beautiful roadways in America, making them accessible to millions of visitors each year. The George Washington Parkway, the Blue Ridge Parkway, going to the Sun Highway, the Columbia River Gorge, and the Natchez Trace.
I remember one wonderful trip through the Deep South when we wound up on the Natchez Trace. And it was just a canopy of leaves over your head. And the road wasn't wide, which was a pleasant thing. There are lots such visual treats out there. All those back roads that I might not have gotten to yet.
Even in dense urban areas, roads like Rock Creek Parkway in Washington, D.C., or the Ben Franklin Parkway in Philadelphia bring people in contact with nature and history as they go about their daily business. But it is our blue highways, those secondary roads marked in blue on the old highway maps, that are unrecognized and unprotected. These roads run through the America we sing about, through amber waves of grain and purple mountains, into spacious skies, through communities settled by our ancestors.
I believe that real life, genuine life, doesn't happen along the interstates because most of what constitutes genuine life is outlawed on the interstates. And the reason that people find a fascination in the American back roads is that what constitutes life is still permitted there. You can put up a small stand and sell your vegetables. You can't do that on an interstate. Your animals come right up against the road so that somebody's passing down the back road can look in and count the number of cattle that you have in your lot. They know what crops you're growing. They know the relationship of the farmer's house to the crops that he sees. And county roads almost always pass in front of houses. So you see the side of a home, of a people, of a family that they want to show to outsiders.
How can we be sure that what we see today will be there a generation from now? The first step is to identify those roadways that lead to and through our treasured landscapes. The second step is to designate them. That is, formally recognize areas of outstanding quality. And finally, we must protect scenic roads from degradation and visual blight. Some states have moved to protect scenic roadways. Oregon has enacted tough measures to conserve areas of natural beauty and historic importance. And Vermont requires tasteful signage that informs rather than obscures.
Nobody likes to go to a place that's not beautiful. We felt that it was in Vermont's best economic interest not to have billboards along the highways. This legislation is not just for the sake of the purists and the environmentalists, but it's designed for the entire spectrum of the population. People who benefit, realtors, developers, tourist industries, restaurants, motels, they all benefit by having their state known as a state that is beautiful.
The American Automobile Association, AAA to its 30 million members, has identified 625 scenic roads to which it directs those in search of natural and cultural beauty.
Our members are not interested all the time in getting from point A to point B the fastest way. They want to see some of the country now. Take time out and do what we call shun piking, which is shunning the pikes. We find tourists are leaving the interstates and expressways in search of scenic byways, and the feedback we receive from business people on scenic byways is that this is very good for business. Their restaurants are full, their hotels are full.
To protect these places for future enjoyment, the President's Commission on Americans Outdoors has recommended establishing a national scenic highway system. Designated roadways will benefit from low-cost conservation measures such as billboard controls, junkyard screening, scenic easements, and protection of trees along the road. States, counties, and local governments will continue to administer these roads as they do today, but will work more closely with citizens groups, businesses, and property owners to protect unique features. The federal government will be a limited but important partner, supporting, publicizing, and coordinating the effort.
I was raised by my father with the notion that the main gift that a person receives is the gift of the journey. The gift of the journey is almost everything.
The journey can be as rewarding as the destination. Once again, the American road can reveal the vistas and the visions that belong to us all, from sea to shining sea.